Hey, it's Libby with Woot Recruit, and I want to welcome you guys to another episode of tips and strategies to really help your recruiting, your retention. It's all things recruiting here at our YouTube channel. So what is Woot Recruit? We are a recruiting program designed specifically for the high turnover industry, such as cleaning, lawn care, construction, you name it. If you're in a service-based industry, this is the YouTube channel for you. I have a great guest today, and he's in the green industry, Vitaly. Why don't you do just a quick intro, tell us about yourself and where you're located?
Vitaly with Simple Lawns. We're located in Vancouver, Washington. We work also in Portland, Oregon because we're on the border. We are about a 3.3 million dollar company last year, striving to hit 5 million this year. Yeah, I guess if there's anything else.
Awesome. So I always love to kick off the episode with, asking our guest, what is the number one single hiring mistake that comes to mind? What was that?
Definitely my project manager that I've hired. He had all the experience in the world, had all the potential to be the best candidate I've ever hired, and ended up being the most toxic and the most, I guess, it held back our company from growing for 2 years of him being here, and and then we had to, it was a very difficult decision and hard for us to let go somebody with so much experience and having that around us. But a big thing for us was he was such a bad culture fit, and he was causing so many issues amongst everyone. And it was definitely my worst hire and also my worst fire because it was so difficult after I fired him, and he was taking it very, very personally and saying that I was his only friend and I can't believe I did this to him, and trying to guilt trip me and saying that he's getting divorced and not going to have anywhere to live. He's going to be on the streets, and and he all like went to the extent of saying that he's going to take a gun and blow out his brains, and if I don't hire him back, and trying to use all these threat tactics to try to get me to hire him back. And it was definitely very difficult, with him here, very difficult to let him go. But after, the smoke cleared, it was the best thing that's happened to us after we let him go.
So that's a story. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
I've definitely made bad hires, but I haven't had
Yeah.
that type of firing yet.
Yeah.
Um,
I know
that
there's
being,
probably not going to be anyone worse.
that being said, what do you think, was, what did you take away from that? So one, why did you take so long? Like, why? Because we all struggle with this,
Yeah.
the firing process.
hmm
Why do you think you took so long? And then what was that learning? What shifted in you to say this can't happen again? And how did you start recruiting going forward?
Yeah. So, like, obviously, he did not meet any of our core values in our company, and it's something that we just established when I let him go. But he just did not fit our culture. The reason why he was here for so long is because we had a young team just in general in our office, and having that guy with the experience is like it's a good guy to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for us is having that that guy to bounce ideas off of. So
So I just interviewed Vitaly over on our Fearlessness podcast. So I would
mhm.
recommend you guys check out that longer version of the episode. But you had mentioned that you didn't have core values before, because we had
No,
talked about in the green industry, like I get a lot of pushback from more the male dominated industry saying, oh, my
hmm
guys don't want culture. And
yeah,
so we talked about that over there, but there's something in listening to you. I want to ask you a question on this
hmm
topic. You say you didn't have them before,
no,
or really have established ones. You didn't know how to get them, what they were, and Simple
yep,
Growth helped you through that. That's Mike
hmm
Callahan's group, if anybody's listening. Um, and when you started to figure out this thing we call core values and culture, is that when you saw the light bulb go off that he wasn't a good fit? Like, what's
Definitely. Definitely.
if
There was signs, there's signs down the road, down the line, of course, as well, like where like, but he would be, a good talker and kind of talk himself out and throw other people under the bus and make himself look a lot better and always blame the guys that didn't have as much experience as him and we don't know what we're doing and as the core values came up, it was like, okay, he doesn't fit this one, he doesn't fit this one, he doesn't fit this one, he maybe fits this one, and he doesn't fit this one. So why is he here? And yes, he has experience, but he's ruining it for everyone around him. And so after, we were without any core values or any, anything. Literally didn't have a vision, didn't have nothing. And that was another thing, is having a clear vision for the company. We had nothing. It was like we just kind of worked and we're like, but nobody knew what was in my brain. So making it, announcing it and telling everyone and showing what we're going to do to get there made everything a lot more clear. Also, so for 8 years we didn't have it. For the last, year, I guess for 8.5 years, the last year and a half we have had it. We saw our employee retention go up like crazy. We saw a lot more people coming in, not through our ads, just through the door referrals from other employees working here. Um, we see guys a lot happier, way more efficient. Guys see themselves here long term. So it helped so much, and then also um, profit margins have gone up. Like, and it's like it seems like it's not connected, but it is all connected, intertwined with. If you have happy employees and they want to come to work and they feel valued, they're gonna do better for you. And it didn't make sense for me at the time. It's like, oh, that if you have a hard worker, that's all that matters, and it doesn't. It's if you have happy employees and hardworking employees, it does amazing things.
so I love this topic. Like I've written a vivid vision for each company.
Hmm.
If you haven't done a vivid vision, Vitaly, I really recommend the book. It's like
Yeah.
vision to the next level.
Hmm.
Mine's 19 pages long because it's very high detail, but it's amazing. And, I want to encourage everyone that's listening to this episode is to really take your vision and your mission and your core values seriously. Sometimes we copy them, we take pieces from other people. I know when I did my core values originally, I just did them because someone told me I had to do them. So I just went and took some off the internet. Um, but they weren't true to us. But one of the things about employee retention that I heard you say, and this was like one of the best pieces of advice I ever got, was this came from Dan Martell. So I have Dan as a personal coach, and I'm in his boardroom group. And he said that your vision has to be large enough so that everyone else's fits inside of it.
Yeah, that's good.
If not, they're never going to stay. Or if they don't even know that their vision, that their goals fit inside,
Hmm.
they're not going to stay because they don't know where you're going. Like,
Hmm.
is this just a stepping stone or can I stay here forever? And unless you capture that vision and you communicate it outwardly to your team on a regular cadence, because you can't just tell them one time,
Hmm.
they're going to move on. He gave the example of his personal assistant. He loves his personal assistant. He wants to keep her forever. He's like so grateful for everything she does. And when he asked, like, what is your vision? Like, what are your goals? What do you want to do? And she's like, oh, well, I want to be the personal assistant to a billionaire because I want to ride around in a jet and I want to manage 3 houses
Hmm.
and I want to live in those locations part-time as well.
Hmm.
And Dan was like, oh my God, like if I want to keep
Hmm.
Anne, I have to make sure
Become
my
that.
vision is large enough for that.
Yeah.
And if it's not, I'm going to lose her. And I think we don't communicate that to our employees. Like, what is the vision of our company long term
Yeah.
so that they stay, they see a future.
Hmm.
100%. So
Yeah,
I
that's good.
love the the topic, and knowing that. And I think it scares a lot of us to ask our employees what their goals are. because we think that they want to open a company or they want a $5 million business like us. But in
Yeah.
reality, we have a dream wall, right? So we have a dream wall, and they put all of their goals or dreams on the wall. And I love that wall because we get a sense of what are their goals, like buying a car, buying their first house, fixing their credit, like getting out of debt. And that dream wall creates a reality, and it's a great, because then we see it all the time. Every time we walk by, we have it. And when they achieve that dream, they get to move the star to the next side of the wall where it's the dream was achieved.
Hmm.
Having a kidless
Also.
vacation. I mean, oh my gosh, how we could help our employees do that. A kidless vacation, I'll hire the sitter. um, but their dreams have to fit inside, and we have to be able to hold all of them.
Hmm.
So, before we wrap up, I love Vitaly's culture. I went and stalked his business Facebook page, and I saw great pictures of his team out doing activities and doing culture building things. So, what are some tips that you can give our listeners on, what are you doing to improve culture? Because culture is hard to figure.
Yeah.
You can't measure it, feel it. I mean, you kind of feel it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
not really.
Um, I would say definitely making sure the guys feel appreciated is a big one. Um, I would say a big thing where I saw like a big culture change is during our Christmas party. I was handing out the bonuses, and I usually every year I just kind of just give it to them, tell them thank you, I appreciate you. But this year I kind of like last second I'm like, I'm gonna call them up here and I'm gonna say something nice about each one of my employees. And I called up each person to the front of the room, and I'm like, hey, this is Jose. He's been with us for 3 years. We appreciate him here. We want him to, achieve him going from a helper to a crew leader this year. We see lots of improvements from, his paperwork, his cuts. Everyone is striving, to be like Jose. Like all the helpers are, they know that Jose is the best helper that any crew leader can have. So everyone wants him, and every helper wants to be like Jose. And it's like, I did that to every single one of the employees, including managers and everyone. And I just saw like the room light up, and then and them individually light up like, wow, like that really was a big deal for each one of those employees. And then like we went on our 2 week Christmas break. They come back, and it just like night and day from before the Christmas party to after the Christmas party. And then we implemented all our core values, and then just everything just started changing. We started like we always had little parties here and there, but we had parties like we didn't have much people that even wanted to show up. Like, oh, I got this going on, I got this going on, and it's like a quarter of the company shows up, and it's like, oh, that's cool. But now it's like 95 to 100% of the people show up every time, and it's like that's how that's like a scale of the culture as well. And also another thing is I don't know if you know the five love languages.
Yes. Books
So
saved my marriage, or at least me divorcing my husband.
yeah, so it's really big, and the thing is,
We love
guys
that
have
book.
guys have the same thing, and it's like not all of them like some people like gifts, some
Hmm.
people like words of affirmation, and it's
So
like
I'm acts of services. Do the dishes for me, and I'll love you forever.
exactly. And that's the same thing. Like the guys would be like, an act of service might be like, hey, I forgot the tool this morning. Can you go bring it to me? And it's like, that's an act of service to him because now it just saved him a ton of time of picking up something. Or like, like, hey, can I do this for you? Can I, take you out for, and talk to you and give you encouraging words. Like, and that's the thing that I've noticed too is like, there's not a lot of guys that like me. I guess some of the guys didn't like me bringing up and talking to him, but some of the guys were like, wow, nobody's ever done this for me. And so like that was so big. It's like I saw a podcast about it, and I'm like, man, I really thought it's more just marriage stuff, but it was like it works with everything. And it's like and it really see me, or I guess made me see things a little differently, of how I treat the guys, how I reward the guys, because some guys are like, hey, you give me a bonus, and that's a big deal for me, and then there'd be
Mhm.
guys that are like, you know what, money's like just, like you telling me I'm doing a really good job and bringing me in front of in front of the guys and telling me like I'm doing a great job is like, that's more worth it to me than a bonus. And
Yeah.
so like, it just depends. You got to feel out your guys. You got to know what your guys like and kind of figure out what their love language is, and then
Yes.
just go run with it.
There is the five languages of love. There's a work one.
Oh, really?
Yes, there
I have to
is
look into
it's
that
the
one.
five appreciations in the workplace. So, but
Okay.
it's the same concept.
Yeah, yeah.
They just give you more statistics on like what people like in the workplace. So we used to do all these little gifts, like a Valentine's gift and this gift. And what we saw
Hmm.
after I read that book, like that's the least love language in the workplace, like the least
Yeah.
appreciated. They
Hmm.
like more words of affirmation, acts of
Yep.
services,
Hmm.
um, than gifts. And then they also show you how do you work through the touch, right? Because one of the love
Hmm.
languages is touch. Like, so how
Yep.
do you do
Like
that in the
a
workplace?
fist pump,
Yeah,
a
a high
little
five.
sideways
Mhm.
hug, be like, "Hey, what's up, amigo? How you doing?" Like
Yeah.
like I've noticed some guys are like, "Hey, they change even just you giving them a fist pump in the morning. It's like, oh, nice, like the boss gave me a fist pump, like, and it seems so little, but it's something that's big. Like before, like I'd walk out, be like, hey, how you guys doing? I wouldn't even shake their hands in the morning. Sometimes it's like, you always go, 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 but sometimes you just need to take that step and be like, slow down a little bit, because this means, especially when you have a larger size company, that this means a lot to them by just showing them, that you care about them. And it's not that you don't. It's just like you have thousand things in your head all the time. You're like, oh, I can't forget this. I can't forget this. But you have to slow down sometimes and make sure your guys feel appreciated, and make sure you have that culture that's set in place, and make sure you guys want to work here.
So, Vitaly, I think that is a great place to wrap up. So that's a wrap for today's episode.
Awesome.
I want to thank you so much for being a guest. I absolutely love everything we talked about. We are a culture fit. um, so thank you for being a guest. And for more insights and strategies for our listeners, please don't forget to subscribe and follow our YouTube channel and our newsletter so that you can get every week we publish a new one. So that way you can get notified when we post a new video on our YouTube channel or a new blog post. So until next time, keep pushing those boundaries of what you think is possible when it comes to your hiring process and your culture. Let's make recruiting your business's superpower. See you on the next episode.